All right, everyone. I just want to say thank you again for coming. I really appreciate it. I know it's later in the night. But today for the Beyond the Nest, we're going to be talking about building and expanding on play skills using household items for play. So just about myself, my name is Dominique Sullivan. I'm a developmental therapist at our Wheaton location. I received my master's in early childhood special ed from Elmhurst University. After that, I worked in early intervention for about 2 years. And then prior to that, and still now, I do volunteer work at Gigi's Playhouse and Special Olympics. Okay, so this first slide, I just want to quickly talk about play and the importance of play. Sometimes when we think of play, we're not sure of like what we're learning or what you see, but play is super essential for cognitive, physical, and social emotional development. I think play is a great way to build that creativity for all kids and even adults. And it's just also a great way to connect with your child or niece or nephew or whoever you're playing with. To the picture here to the right, these are just a couple ways of play that we see children engage in. So you're going to see the unoccupied and that solitary play around birth to 2 years. That's mainly just on their own, you know, maybe exploring their environment, manipulating some toys, but again, just on their own. Our next type of play is onlooker, and this onlooker play is looking at other peers. He or she will not engage, but could be very interested in the children around them. And then the next one, the parallel and associative, they're very similar. The only difference that we have here is that in associative play, we do start to see a little bit of communication. Still not a ton. They're in these both areas of play. They're playing next to each other. They're able to tolerate one another in that position and, you know, tolerate, you know, the other child grabbing another toy or just sitting with them. And that last play is the cooperative play. And this cooperative play, we're going to see around four or older. And here we see a lot of problem solving skills. They're starting to make rules like, oh, I'm the teacher, or you're the students, I'm mom, or I'm dad. You kind of see that pretend play, that symbolic play, and definitely a lot more of communication. Also, if anyone has any questions or comments, please feel free to put that in the chat or just unmute yourself. That's totally fine. Okay, so usage of toys. This is super important. Sometimes even before I had an idea of wanting to do special ed, I always thought toys were the thing. Like I wanted the greatest, the best, and the newest toys. And when I talked to parents during early intervention, they also thought the same thing. And but I want you guys to know that toys are just a tool to make that more exciting, to make you more exciting, right? Our biggest goal in play with our children is to engage with you, to have them engage with you, with other peers, and even just people around them. Actually, according to the American Pediatric Association, the most beneficial toy are toys that give that playful interaction between parent and child. And they also recommend that you use real items. So these are just like a real broom, a cup that you may use during what you're drinking. For children to see how those items are used in the world around them and to problem solve, and just to get creative too as well. All right, so we're going to talk about 5 items or groups of items of toys that I like to use with families or even my family. Laundry baskets are super versatile. It's a great way to use sensory play, pretend play, and even just following directions. For our babies, I like to put them into the laundry basket, put some toys in there, and that way we have them contained and then they're also playing with you. Here you can do some in and out play. You can even maybe put a blanket in there. For our older kids, I do like to add books in there. My nephew enjoys reading books, so whenever I get a chance, and he's at that point where he's always moving around, but when I want him to get contained, I like to give him the basket, and we can push the books around to where we want to sit. And then we start reading our books, and this is where we'll engage and talk about the book. We might talk about, what's happening in the book, but that's one way you can play with them. Another way is to create like a crib for a baby. So I like to take like blankets or a pillow and put that in there, and we can do some pretend play of rocking the baby to sleep. Again, giving that proprioceptive input, pushing the baby around in the crib, rocking the baby. Another way for that input we can do is to create a car out of it. You don't have to get fancy. Again, we can use our imagination with our kiddos here, and we can just pretend that it's a car. We can talk about ready, set, and then have them say go, and then they can push or pull. And then for our older kiddos, we can talk about maybe putting their clothes away. So when you're doing laundry, encourage them to help you carry them up to the room. Maybe take the laundry out of the washer or dryer. Again, that real world aspect of it is just really important to have them understand, oh, this is what a laundry basket is used for. This is how my clothes are being put away. It's just really meaningful for them, and then gives them that sense of their environment. Oh, and I also wanted to say, like, putting heavy items is great for that input with like the books, and you can even just put different toys in there, get them excited that way. But I always like to just keep it simple. Don't keep it too full. All right, so the next group, I enjoy our kitchen items. So there's so much you can do with kitchen items, right? You can help them, keep them occupied while you're cooking. I know for myself, keeping a 8-month-old while cooking dinner is very hard. So I always have his set of bowls that he can play with, and he can, stack them. He can put things in them. I do allow some pots and pans, of course, not ones with the glass cover on them, but it's just a great way to create music with them, have them give an understanding of like how a sound is made, giving them a wooden spoon to bang against. And in this picture to the left here, she's putting some magnetic items on the baking pan. And I just think this is a great way because, again, we're kind of allowing them to play, but we're keeping it in their area, right? We want to sometimes, I know for myself, toys are everywhere, and sometimes we just want to have it in one area. So this is a great way to keep them in that same spot of creating pictures. I've used the baking pans before where I would actually put different meals that we'll have for the week, and I'll have the child like choose, like, do you want green beans or do you want mashed potatoes? And then they can just pick from the baking pan. Another great way for our babies is putting some water in there, having them lay on our stomach, working on moving their head and moving their hands, getting them for that sensory play, touching the water. You can maybe add some cups or spoons to initiate some scooping. But the baking pans are just great for sticking things that, like, I'm sure everyone has like those magnetic letters that you can put on there. So that's a great way to use that. So again, the bowls that I use are really basic. These are just colored ones that I have. And sometimes what I'll do is work on some sorting. So I have different colored utensils. So we'll say like, oh, let's sort them. Let's put the green in the green bowl, or, you know, working on those cognitive skills. We can even talk about counting. We can even talk about sharing. For our older kiddos, we can talk about setting our plates. So I'll sometimes hand over like a cup with, you know, the same colors or different colors, and I'll say like, oh, let's go put this by our plate. So again, we're following directions. We're expanding on some play, building math skills and different other cognitive skills. And then again, that real world example of using those items in our environment. And then the other item that I like to use too are oven mitts. Oven mitts are a great way for puppets. We can talk about, for new kiddos who are just trying food, we can pretend to use that oven mitt to feed the babies or the kids. We can even just talk about a story about eating, maybe do a dinner and a show, and have them participate in that, like maybe give them a oven mitt to play with. And in the next slide, I do have a picture. The left one, this is my son. He loves these bowls, okay? I mean, loves them. They're always loud, they're banging, but we like to put them on our head. We like to do some stacking with them. Some just like cognitive skills that we like to do. He likes to take the utensils and move those around and again, make some more noise. The picture to the right is a great way, again, for sorting. You can use muffin tins. Sometimes I've added like a construction paper that's cut into a circle, or even a cupcake mold in there. And I'll just have them sort colors or sort foods. Even if you want to do it out of the kitchen, we can do pom-poms in there. But again, using these items, very simple, not having to go to the store and pay for tons, pay for toys that are too expensive and things that they're probably not even gonna play with. All right, so another group of items that I used to like are bath towels and blankets. For our babies, a great way is to start off with peekaboo, having them work on pulling it off, putting it on, getting that nonverbal communication, that interaction between them. For our older kiddos, I like to do some building a fort. This one we created and we just put tons of books in there, and we actually left out for a good day or so. And it was my nephew's way of, that's where he was going to read, or that's where he was going to hide. We were going to go play hide and seek. So super fun, super creative, and way cheaper than buying a tent from like Amazon or something like that. Another way you could have use the blankets or the towels are to have your child sit on the blanket. So if they're sitting on the blanket, we're working on those core muscles, we're working on balance skills, and we're also giving our parents a workout, right? Walking around, giving all that interaction with them. And then two, what a good way we can do is pretend picnic. We can lay out a blanket and we can just have, it doesn't even have to be a picnic. It can just be a bunch of other stuff that we want to do, reading books, toys, whatever you guys want on your blanket. So I'm going to show a quick video of what I was talking about, where I would put my son on the blanket and I would pull him. So right now he's working on just like balancing. And here we go. And my dogs love that too, because they get to chase him around. So again, balance skills, we're working on those gross motor skills. We can interact with them. Again, ready, set, go. Have them work on go, or we can work on more with this. Again, with the peekaboo, we can also work with more on that. And then sustaining that attention with peekaboo, right? We're wanting them to give that eye contact, to keep that attention to us. So another group I like to use are bins and boxes. They're just the easiest ways to create sensory bins. Sensory bins are just ways for things that we can put in. So we'll put in rice, we can put in some measuring cups, some cups or spoons, to get them to like get that tactile play where we're getting in there, getting dirty, allowing them to get all those sensory needs that they might want. I've used pom-poms. Those are really easy to buy, super cheap, affordable. Again, we're working on those fine motor skills to scoop, put in, put out. Another reason why I like the bins and the boxes are for container play. Container play is just really good for children who may be like really needing some calming or organizing activity. That in and out play is just a way for them to calm their bodies, regulate, and it's a good way to work on following directions to clean up. Another way that I've used bins or boxes is to use it as an easel. So in the picture to the left, we were actually moving and my nephew hopped in a box and asked for crayons. So just started coloring, started painting. Again, the mess is inside. We don't have to worry about that. And then once we're done with it, we can just throw it away or save it or keep it for a few days. This is a good way if you have like taller boxes, we're working on shoulder strength. We can do numbers and letters, whatever they're into. I like to draw maybe some faces to talk about some social emotional skills. And this box here too was great because you can kind of go up and down from it to do some peekaboo. Peekaboo is just a very versatile activity. And I think if you can find anything you can hide your face, it's just a great way to get that eye contact, sustaining attention, and just for them to really notice your facial features, right? We're talking about eyes, ears, nose, mouth. So that's just a great way and easy way to use that. You can create a house. I actually had my nephew created one where there's a top on it. So this one we're talking about open, we're talking about close. We can draw like pictures on there. This one he actually made into a house and there's windows. Again, be creative. You can use forks to talk about like, oh, look, our friend's coming in the house. These ones are just great. I mean, I use them for diapers, or like I use the boxes from the diapers that we buy and keep those for a little bit and have a free-for-all basically. So these are just some examples. The left is a sensory bin. This is a very creative bin. I just like to use plain white rice, and then if I want to add color, I'll use a toy or some spoons, colorful spoons. You can even just put water in there, again with some measuring cups and some scooping. You can even try cleaning cars. One family that I had, the little boy loved cars. So what we did was we got them dirty with kinetic sand, and then he had to take a sponge, wash it off, or a toothbrush, and then put it in the water and then dry them off. Another one that we've tried is pasta. If you can cook them, or you can have them stay in what there are right now. That way you're getting some sensory play. We're talking about, we can count on them. We can even sort them if you do color them. If you do need a recipe for that, I will have my email at the end and I will send those to you guys. And the picture to the right is, again, just some houses that some kids painted. These are, again, very creative. They have actual roofs, they got windows. But again, our main goal is to interact with a child and to use these toys as a tool. All right, so I believe this is the last one, but this one we use masking or painter's tape. I have some pictures on the next slide that we'll talk about, but I like to use the bigger tape. That way we can like peel them off. We can make them into like bigger squares. Sometimes I have my kiddos like draw some faces on there, maybe write their names, and you can create homemade stickers. Another one is for our babies. I like to maybe cut a couple pieces off and we'll use our fine motor skills to pull off and on. And then I'll actually go to the next picture because it's a little bit easier to understand. But in the left picture, this parent actually taped down some animals and some toys. Again, we're working on those fine motor skills. We can use cognitive skills like, oh, who's that? Let's help her. Oh no, the horse is stuck. Giving them that language and also giving them that fine motor skills that we can build up on. The picture to the right is an obstacle course. This is very creative. I usually start off with just like the line in the back over here, and they can work on balancing. We can even maybe take our car and drive it around. Super simple, super easy. Again, I know I keep repeating it, but our main goal is just to keep it easy for our kids and easy for you. The cleanup is easy, not a total mess, and then we're still building on those skills, expanding on that play, and creating an engaging time for them. So, like I said, I've discussed it multiple times. I've said it 100 times. Our main goal during play is to create those meaningful interactions, those purposeful two-way communications, to get them to notice us, to notice others. We're working on social skills, and we're also working on just overall development, cognitive, physical, social emotional. And if you guys take anything away from this, just make it fun and have it just in a memory, right? That's what my goal is with these kids and with families, is just to make it fun. So that is all I have for today. If you guys do have any questions this weekend, I can stop sharing, and you can either write it in the chat or you can unmute, and I would love to see all your guys' faces. Again, I appreciate you guys showing up. Actually, Laura told us that we have recipes on our website for some of those if you want to dye your noodles. You're welcome, Rupa. My son has a twin sister and an older sister. Where should we try to land on type of play? A twin sister. How old is Janet, how old are your kiddos, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm going to try coming off mute. That usually means everybody's going to start screaming. So my son is, and his twin sister, they turned 5 in September. And then my older daughter is 8. And like, I guess I'm just kind of trying to figure out, like, should I guess that doesn't make sense. Like, be kind of encouraging him to do more interactive play, or just let him do what he's comfortable with, or I guess I'm thinking, like, when the girls play together, I don't like for him to be left out, but he's not necessarily totally interested in what they're doing.
Yeah, totally. That's a great question. So at 5, we're looking at about that, like sharing, that problem solving. My previous experience, I've had kids that were younger and like kind of like your kiddos, we've had that big kind of, not big, but like a little space between them. So I think whatever's comfortable for the kids, you know, we definitely don't want to just force them into an activity. I like to do is like a child-led activity, maybe have your older daughter hopping into their play so that they're more comfortable, and then have the twins kind of slowly, you know, march up to their play. So for instance, we might take the bowls, right? The twins are probably just like stacking, we're putting things in and out. Your older daughter can, you know, come in and say like, oh, look, I have a hat, or talk about like, oh, that's the color green, I like green. It doesn't, again, it does not have to be super intense type of interaction. We just want that, you know, meaningful interaction to get them to get along, to have that shared attention. So I hope I answered your question, but basically, you know, we don't ever want to just like force a child into a play that they're not comfortable in. So if your older daughter is okay with just coming down to their level a little bit, getting them to engage, and then maybe she can even try to show them like those real world activities. So taking the bowl, like, oh guys, look, I'm gonna make a pasta, or I'm gonna make some cookies or something like that. Do you want to help? That's a great way to start that.
That was really helpful. Thanks.
Oh, great. I'm happy. Yes, Barbies. Everything Barbies. And then I do have a sheet that I will be sending out to everyone. It's just types of play, like that peer play development that we were just talking about, and then that play development. So that's talking about like our cause and effect play, our exploratory play. That way you guys kind of have like a sheet to go off of, and then expand. And then if you guys do have any questions or need random ideas of play, let me know. And I do have my email, so that should be sent out to you guys too as well. Thanks, Laura. Thanks for coming, Rachel. Thanks, Lindsay. All right, everyone. I will send those emails out to you guys. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us or myself. Everyone have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.